Most people hear Joe Bonamassa and think speed. But after I won Joe's breakthrough open call, I realized his real secret isn't fast fingers, it's fretboard navigation. Today, we're looking at his iconic Blues Deluxe to see how he uses B.B. King lineage to never get lost on the neck and the mistake 90% of blues players make trying to copy him. So here's what happens. We're just basically, let me put some volume on the guitar. And this is the first kind of playthrough I've done of this. I actually, firstly, we don't want to come off of the fretboard by pulling up on the fret, on the string. We want to just sort of push it up and just kind of manipulate it that way. And make sure that we have enough bite on the amp. I'm using my Boogie today, and that it's got a little bit of grit on it, a little bit of wool on it. And I'm actually using the middle pickup, the middle pickup selector switch, so I have a little bit of both pickups kind of dialed in, but you could easily just kind of dial in the neck pickup for this riff, for this lick. So there's a lot going on here, and he's not really just playing the minor pentatonic system here. So I wanted to unpack that a little bit for you. This is great. So where are we at? So we're going to move that C minor pentatonic area, that fret 8. We're going to move that stuff that we know. Then we're going to move it up to sort of like fret number 15 or position number 15, and we're just kind of hanging out here. And we're adding basically the 6th degree or the 13, and what we're doing is we're kind of we're using that as a color tone to bend up into the flatted 7th degree of the scale, basically. So instead of just kind of playing the flat 7 and doing the normal thing where we just bend it up to the root, we're actually using that root as a goal tone. But now, typically we use it as a root, the root as a goal tone, but now we're going to just use the flatted 7th as the goal tone. And that completely changes the game for us. The initial statement of this, the intro lick, kind of like the B.B. King's Stormy Monday, it's got that. It's basically the F, the E position bar chord. It's part of our Caged series. If you've been sort of like joining us for a period of time now, we're working through our Caged system in our own unique way, and it's a lot of fun. But this is basically the E position bar chord or F chord that's kind of brought up to position number 8. So no big thing, ain't no fang. But we're going to just kind of hang out here and just play maybe the do, mi, sol, do, right? We have the do, sol, mi, do. And then we're basically just playing hello, 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 if you've been a Three Stooges fan. But we have that 1, 3, 5 or do, mi, sol, do, right? And we're slurring our way up through that major triad. So instead of 1, 3, 5, like sounding like super vanilla, we're going to just kind of just slur from that minor third, that world of sadness that we draw upon so many times in our lives. That adult life that we live that brings grown men to their knees. That's sadness, right? That flat 3 is just... That's what this is all about, just digging into that world of emotion that lives between the flatted third and the major third, the happy third. So we start with that do, mi, or do, me, mi, sol, do, and then sol, la. But we put another little ray of sunlight in there. And it's a nice little step. It's just a little bit of a jerkiness to it, right? So we're going to have some fun, but I kind of want to listen to it again. Let's listen to it again, but listen to the first 5 notes one more time. We want to be sure we're getting this correct. The opening phrase, the initial impression, is an important one, so we want to get it correct. So I want you to stop right there. Those first 5 notes, that's synonymous with everything blues in our known universe. That's the B.B. King box. He's not running a minor pentatonic scale. He's targeting a specific triadic coordinate. Let's continue with the listen. So we have that nice, and then, oh, actually, let's give it another listen because he's ending on that phrase, that descending pattern on the flatted 7. So instead of that root note landing in that naturally kind of like defined area, we're going to go a step further. Let's see how we get there though. We have this. He does that flatted 3 to the major 3 on the descending pattern again. And that gives us the moment that we need. There's no 4 anticipating the flat 3, which is typical to the blueser, you know. That's typically how I would end the line. And this has clearly been given some thought, some critical thought, like, yeah, I've done that a million times and I really want to do something different. I want to bring something different to the blues, you know? So we have to get that first finger to kind of lay over. Don't forget that little slur here though. You see how that first finger just kind of hangs out there? We're using that flat 3 slur to the major 3, release to the root note, flat 7, give it a little wiggle. And that's what we're looking for. And then we put the interval diabolique there, right? Yeah, a little tritone action, never hurt anyone, or did it? I don't know. I'm not sure. The triad mistake in the translation pivot, it's a fast win for us, so it's good. Here's where most players fail. They memorize the shape, but they don't know the address. For example, I'm coming down. You know, I know that I'm playing in C, but I'm still thinking in terms of just kind of like one single position. But I have at least 3 positions to play in this song, any blues song. So we have basically I know that I'm on the C major chord, but I also know that I'm not bound. This is not a story of human bondage. It's not. And we're going to be unbound or unencumbered from any one position in particular. And if you stick around, this is just going to make so much sense over time. It's super easy, low barrier for entry because I know what it's like. I remember what it's like to be excited and want to just get after it. But I also know what it's like to feel overwhelmed. You take one look at me and I know what it's like to be overwhelmed. So it's just a really simple, like, triadic shape. There are one shape. So here's the C chord. We need to know the 1 chord. We also need to know the 4 chord, which is the F chord, which we could use the same exact shape for. And then the 5 chord. And we could use exactly the same shape there again. We can have all kinds of fun, junky, clanky, jangly fun with the scale and expand on it. But the basic coordinate is this. And then the 1, the 4, and then the 5, back to the 1 again. Now we could also take the top 3 strings and play this, the C chord, basically, but the bar. It's like the A position bar chord, which you know. And if you don't, it's super easy. We're going to start on fret 5, 5, 5 on the D, G, and B strings. And if I make a mistake, it's okay. And then the 4 chord, and then the 5 chord, and then back to the 1 again. All right, so we have a little more listening to do. There might have been like a third triad that would be useful. So we talked about the F position. We talked about the A position triad, right? Or the E position, then the A position. Which one would be like really useful? So we have the F and the A. Let's go through this caged chords. We have the C chord. The C chord is another great one, right? So let's go right there and start with the C. So we have the 1 chord right here on position number 12. We have the 5, the 3, the 1, the 5, the 3, the 1. But if we wanted to only use the top 4 strings to remain consistent with all of the other activities we've been using, let's do only the top 4 strings. So let's take a look at the 3, the 5, the 1, and then the 3, and then the 5, and then the 1. Right? And so we're just going to move that to the 1 chord, and then the 4 chord. Let's find what, this is the root note. Let's make that root note, that C note, C, D, E, F. Let's make that the 4 chord. And then the 5 chord, and then we can voice lead back to the place from whence we came. To actually internalize this, you have to map it. I designed the Write, Play, Repeat manuscript workbook exactly for this. So this is what it is. This is my little pencil, and this is my little book. And this is super important, right? This is super important for me because what I like to do is I'll go through and I'll say, hey, Jason Carey guitar, that's me. That's pretty cool. And then there's a little welcome note for those of you who want to, it's not for you right now, but if you decide that you wanted to go ahead and grab it, you'll see it. But you can see that I go through piles of these books. I'm transcribing a pile of bluegrass songs and sketches because actually we're getting ready to start a bluegrass series that you might be interested in, which is going to be a banger of a set. You're going to love it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it up to a page and get ready to sort of instead of mentally mapping this out, I'm going to use a pencil and paper so that I can commit it to memory a little bit better. You know what I mean? So let's take a minute and draw out the exact coordinate so you can see the math behind the magic. When I do this, I just basically take my guitar down, and what I do is I get my big fat belly out of the way, and then I basically put this on. I use my guitar surface as a workbench. I don't worry about this, because if this falls behind me like it does a lot, I'll just grab it and then feed it over my shoulder again, and then regain my consciousness when I tip the guitar upright again for some action, right? So all I'm going to do, it's super important to date all of this stuff, and today is, let's see, what is the date today? Oh, today is today once again, 3/6/26. I'm going to mentally map out these chords so I know that I'm on fret number. So I'm going to work my way through it. I don't need the guitar because I've already been through this. I wanted to just walk you through some of the ways I like to visualize things, especially if I'm trying to transcribe or work away from the guitar, while I'm away from the guitar. So I'll use my thumb, and this was some of the famous guitar players, name's Tom Hoffman, really opened my eyes to this, and just a great idea where you can have your thumb be a representation of the fretboard, and then each finger, basically, you could do your finger exercises this way in the mornings without the guitar while you're driving around to office or whatever, to your first meeting of the day where you're going to shake the world up. Grab it by the bull horns. You got that 1, 2, 3, 4, or fingers 2 and 4, 1 and 3. You have all kinds of opportunities to just continually work on mastery, right? So there's literally no excuse. I got you now. I got you now. But you know this. This is all stuff you already know. You live it every day. You're here because you want to go deeper. And I'm just thinking like 3, 2, 1, and then I'm barring my first finger. So I'm on a C chord, the E position bar chord. So I know I have to be on fret 8. So I'm using third finger, second finger, first finger, and I'm barring that first finger. So this is, I don't know if you can see the pencil drawing, but I'm going to just zoom it in here just in case you can see it. But that's exactly what I'll do. And then what I do is I basically will take those chord charts, and then maybe I can take a look at how, while I'm in the 8th position, I'll go through that C. I got to label it too. And then F. These are all triads. These are the navigational, these are the, you know, Bernard Moitessier might navigate the open, like deep water. The deep water sailorman might navigate using certain principles. And these are definitely navigation tools. So I'm using my third finger, triple stopping the D, G, and B string. And then I know this because I know the guitar, and so do you. We just have to give ourselves a moment to just prove it to ourselves. So I have position 8. Now what do I do to get, I can stay right here in position number, can I stay in 8? So I'm looking at C on the top, C, and then I need to come down to fret number 7, I think, to grab that B, and then that G, and then that, let's see, that D, and then that third finger is on the D string. So I have 3, 1, 2, 1, and I'm going to bar that third finger on the top 3 strings. And that gives us, let me label this, that gives us access to these 3 chords. So doing this work away from the guitar requires a tremendous amount, especially for me, it requires a tremendous amount of brain power, resources. I need to allocate every little brain cell I can to get that done sometimes. But it works. And then the more you do it, the easier it becomes, you know. So I'm going to tab out the, I'm going to double bar line here, and I'm going to start with fret number, on position 8. I'm going to start out on position number 8, and I know boom, boom, boo, da, do, da. So I have 10, boom, and then I have a slur from 8 to 9, boom, boom, and that's a hammer on, boom, boo, do, and then 5, 6, or la. So the 5 is not a 5, it's actually fret 5. It's not fret 5, it's fret number 8, but it's the 5th degree of the scale. So, and then the 6 is fret 10. And then we go up to fret number 8 and we wiggle the heck out of that one, but we only push up on it because we don't want to wiggle the high E string and wiggle it right off the fretboard and make it squeak. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're listening to Steve Vai's Flexible album, right? So if we were listening to that, that would be okay. All right, so here's the transcription that I'm going to write out for myself so far, and it took me probably 30 seconds to do that. Now, the other thing that I can do is I can set this down on the stand, which this was gifted from another good friend and organization, actually, and it's a wonderful guitar. So we'll talk about that another time, though. So I'm just going to give this a little reroute back over my shoulder and plug it back in, and it's as simple as that, right? And then I can come back to right. Joe's playing on the Breakthrough Tour is all about dividing by 2. Fewer notes, better navigation, and if you want to stop guessing and start navigating like this, grab my Master Map PDF. The link is the very first thing in the description. Download it, print it, put it in your workbook. Until we meet again, I wish you happy picking.